Catherine's hands trembled violently as she stared at the pregnancy test. 2 pink lines. Positive. Her entire body went cold, then hot, then cold again. No. No, no, no. This can't be happening. 3 weeks since she'd given Taemin her virginity. 3 weeks since that night that had felt like a dream. And now this. A baby. Growing inside her. A baby that would be born into violence and blood and danger. She heard Taemin's voice from the bedroom. That voice that could shift from tender to deadly in a heartbeat. He was on the phone, speaking in rapid Korean, and even though she couldn't understand the words, she understood the tone. Cold. Final. Someone had just been sentenced to death. And here she stood, carrying the child of Seoul's most feared killer, wondering if she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. What have I done? What kind of mother brings a baby into this world? The bathroom door burst open without warning. Taemin stood there, phone still in hand, his dark eyes immediately finding the test. For 3 seconds the world stopped. His face went completely white. Then his eyes met hers, and Catherine saw something that terrified her more than his anger ever could. Absolute, consuming fear mixed with desperate joy. Catherine. Her name left his lips like a prayer and a curse. Are you? She couldn't speak, could only nod as tears streamed down her face. Taemin's phone clattered to the marble floor. He dropped to his knees in front of her, hands shaking as they pressed against her flat stomach. My child. You're carrying my child. When he looked up, tears ran down his face, and his voice broke completely. You just made me the happiest and most terrified man alive. But Catherine couldn't stop the thought screaming in her mind. What have we done? 2 weeks earlier, Catherine woke wrapped in Taemin's arms, her body aching in places she'd never felt before. The silk sheets were tangled around them, morning sun streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse. She should have felt safe, happy, loved. Instead, she felt terrified. I just slept with a man who kills people for a living. The thought had been creeping in all night, every time she'd woken up. She turned her head to find Taemin already awake, watching her with an intensity that made her stomach flip. Good morning, she whispered, and hated how her voice shook. Taemin's hand cupped her face, thumb tracing her lips. Good morning, beautiful. How do you feel? The gentleness in his voice contradicted everything she knew about him. How can hands that have killed so many people touch me so tenderly? Sore. But okay. She wasn't okay. She was drowning in confusion and fear and something that felt dangerously close to regret. Taemin's eyes darkened with satisfaction at her admission of soreness, and Catherine felt her cheeks burn. Good. Because I'm not letting you leave this bed today. When he kissed her, Catherine kissed him back, but her mind was screaming. This is insane. You're insane. You gave your virginity to a mafia boss. Your parents would die if they knew. You're going to end up dead in an alley somewhere, and no one will ever find your body. Taemin pulled back, studying her face with those eyes that saw too much. What's wrong? And don't say nothing. I can feel you pulling away from me. Catherine's heart raced. I'm not. You are, he interrupted, his voice going cold. You're already regretting last night. No. The word came out too fast, too desperate. Taemin, this is all happening so fast. 3 months ago I was a normal girl with a camera. Now I'm in bed with... She stopped herself, but too late. With what? Taemin's voice was deadly quiet. Say it, Catherine. With a monster? A killer? A criminal? Catherine's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. Taemin sat up, and Catherine saw the walls going back up, the coldness returning. You're right to be scared. You're right to second-guess this, because I am all those things. And being with me will destroy you eventually. Taemin, please. Catherine reached for him, but he was already getting out of bed, pulling on his clothes with sharp, angry movements. I have meetings today. My men will be outside your door. Don't leave this penthouse. His voice was back to that terrifying calm. We'll talk tonight about what comes next. What comes next? The words hung in the air like a threat or a promise. Catherine couldn't tell which. After he left, She sat alone in the massive bed, wrapped in sheets that smelled like him, and finally let herself cry. Not because she didn't love him, but because she did. And love in his world felt like a death sentence. That evening, Taemin came home and pulled Catherine into his arms without a word, holding her so tight she could barely breathe. "I'm sorry," he whispered into her hair. "I'm sorry for what I am. I'm sorry for dragging you into this darkness. But Catherine, I can't let you go. I've tried all day to convince myself to end this, and I can't. I'm too selfish, too obsessed, too in love with you." Catherine's heart broke at the raw honesty. "I don't want you to let me go. I'm just scared." "You should be," Taemin said darkly. "But I'll protect you. With my life." When he kissed her, it felt like a vow and a curse. The next day, Taemin took her shopping. But the moment they entered the luxury boutique, a beautiful Korean woman approached, eyes lighting up when she saw Taemin. "Taemin, it's been so long." Her hand touched his arm with familiar intimacy. Catherine felt jealousy lance through her chest. Taemin's expression went ice cold. He removed the woman's hand and pulled Catherine closer. "Jae-hi, this is Catherine. My girlfriend." Jae-hi's eyes traveled over Catherine with disdain. "Your girlfriend? How unexpected. She's very different from your usual type." Taemin's jaw clenched dangerously. "My usual type was a mistake. Catherine is everything. Now leave." But Jae-hi stepped closer, smile cruel. "Does she know about us, Taemin? About those 6 months when you couldn't keep your hands off me? About the things we did?" Catherine's stomach twisted violently. 6 months? Enough. Taemin's voice carried such menace the entire boutique fell silent. "What happened between us meant nothing. You were convenient. Catherine is the woman I love. Leave before I make you." Jae-hi's face flushed with humiliation and rage. She turned to Catherine, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "Enjoy him while it lasts. But remember, I know things about him you never will. How cold he really is. How violent. How many women he's discarded. You're just the latest obsession." She left, but her poison lingered. Catherine couldn't stop the thoughts spiraling. 6 months with her. Convenient. How many others? Was I special or just another body? "Catherine." Taemin's voice cut through her thoughts. "Don't listen to her." "How many?" Catherine's voice was small, broken. "How many women, Taemin?" His jaw clenched. "Catherine, it doesn't matter." "It matters to me." Her voice cracked. "Was I just another conquest?" Taemin's eyes flashed with hurt. "Don't reduce what we have. Then tell me the truth." She was crying now. "How many women have you been with?" Taemin's face went carefully blank. "Many. Too many to count. I can't even remember most of their faces. Each word felt like a knife. But none of them mattered. None of them were you. But they touched him. They knew him. They had parts of him I'll never have." The thought was irrational, but it didn't stop the pain. That evening, Taemin had an emergency meeting. "Don't leave the penthouse," he ordered. After he left, Catherine tried to push away Jae-hi's poisonous words. But they wouldn't leave. A knock on the door made her jump. The bodyguards let Miho in. He entered with a warm smile, carrying wine. "Catherine, I wanted to apologize properly for my behavior at the club." Catherine hesitated, but he seemed genuine. They sat in the living room. "Can I ask you something?" Miho's voice was gentle, therapeutic. "What made you fall for him?" "Most people are terrified of Taemin." Catherine thought carefully. "I see the man underneath. Someone capable of gentleness despite the violence." Miho nodded slowly. "That's beautiful. But Catherine, have you thought about what a future with him actually looks like?" Catherine's stomach twisted. "What do you mean?" "The violence, the enemies, the constant danger, the fact that every day he might not come home. The women." Miho continued softly. "You met Jae-hi today, didn't you? She's just one of dozens. Beautiful, sophisticated women who understood his world. And now here you are. Sweet, innocent, American. Trying to compete with all those ghosts. Stop. I don't want to hear this." But Catherine couldn't look away. I'm not competing, aren't you? Miho's voice was so understanding. Don't you wonder if you're enough? If your innocence is enough? If one day he'll wake up and realize he misses the experienced women who knew how to please him? Catherine's hands shook. Taemin loves me. Does he? Miho asked softly. Or is he obsessed with corrupting something pure? Catherine, I've known my cousin his entire life. He doesn't know how to love. He only knows how to possess, to consume, to destroy. Why are you telling me this? Catherine's voice was barely a whisper. Miho's expression filled with pity. Because I care about you. Because I've watched Taemin destroy every good thing he's ever touched. And I don't want to watch him destroy you. You deserve better than a man who sees you as a possession. After Miho left, Catherine sat alone in darkness, his words echoing. Obsessed, possess, consume, destroy. Were they true? Was Taemin's love just obsession? The thoughts spiraled until Catherine couldn't breathe. When Taemin came home hours later, he found her curled on the couch, shaking. Catherine? What's wrong? He reached for her, but she flinched away. The hurt on his face was immediate and devastating. Don't touch me. I can't. I need to think. Think about what? Taemin's voice went cold. About whether this is real, Catherine whispered. About whether you actually love me or if I'm just another possession. Another innocent girl you can corrupt and discard. Taemin's face went white, then deadly calm. Who put that in your head? Miho? Catherine didn't answer. Taemin's fists clenched so tight his knuckles cracked. I'm going to kill him. See? Catherine's voice broke. Violence is your answer to everything. Maybe Miho's right. Maybe you don't know how to actually love anyone. The words hung like poison. Taemin stood frozen, and Catherine watched something break in his eyes. When he finally spoke, his voice was empty. If that's what you think of me, then maybe you should leave. The words felt like a death sentence. What? Catherine whispered. Leave. Go back to your apartment. Your normal life. Your safe world where men don't kill people. Taemin's voice was dead, emotionless. I won't stop you. Just go. He turned and walked to his bedroom, closing the door with a quiet click. And Catherine sat alone, wondering if she'd just thrown away the best thing that ever happened to her, or escaped the worst. Catherine went back to her apartment that night. She packed a bag and left, and the bodyguards let her go without a word. He's really letting me go. The thought should have brought relief. Instead, it brought devastating emptiness. 2 weeks passed. Catherine lived in her tiny apartment, working shifts at the club, pretending everything was fine. But nothing was fine. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about Taemin. Was it real? Or was Miho right? Then the nausea started. When her period didn't come, and the exhaustion became unbearable, ice-cold realization flooded through her. No, please no. She bought a pregnancy test with shaking hands, sat on her bathroom floor and waited. 2 pink lines. Positive. Catherine's world collapsed. She was pregnant with Taemin's child, and she'd walked away from him. What do I do? She couldn't think, couldn't breathe, just sat there staring at the test. He needs to know. Whatever happened between us, he deserves to know. Catherine grabbed her phone, but before she could call, there was a knock. She opened it to find Miho standing there, expression concerned. Catherine, I've been worried. Can I come in? Catherine hesitated but nodded. Miho entered, eyes taking in the mess. Catherine, what's wrong? She was so desperate for someone to talk to that the words just spilled out. I'm pregnant. The confession hung in the air. Miho's face went through emotions, shock, concern, then something else. Something that made Catherine's skin prickle. Pregnant. With Taemin's child. Catherine nodded, tears streaming. I don't know what to do. Miho sat beside her, pulling her into what seemed like a comforting embrace. Oh, Catherine, this is actually perfect. Catherine pulled back, confused. Perfect? How is this perfect? Miho's expression shifted, warmth in his eyes gone. replaced by something cold and calculating. Because now Taemin can never have you. Miho's voice was different now. Harder. Catherine, I've been waiting for this. Waiting for you to realize what a monster he is. And now. He pulled out a syringe so fast Catherine barely had time to scream. The needle pierced her neck. Catherine felt cold liquid flooding her veins. Her vision blurred. Her legs gave out. What did you do? She gasped. Miho caught her as she fell, voice almost gentle. I'm saving you, Catherine. Saving you and the baby. From him. From his world. You'll understand soon. Darkness swallowed her whole. Catherine woke in an unfamiliar bedroom. Luxurious but sterile. Her hands were tied to bedposts with soft restraints. Panic flooded through her. The baby. Oh God, the baby. Her free hand went to her stomach. Still flat. But for how long had she been unconscious? You're awake. Miho entered carrying food. He looked different, no longer friendly but harder, colder, unstable. How do you feel? I was careful with the dosage. Didn't want to hurt the baby. Catherine's blood ran cold. Miho, what have you done? Where am I? Somewhere safe. Somewhere Taemin will never find you. Miho set down the tray and sat beside her. Catherine tried to scoot away. Catherine, I know you're scared, but I'm not the bad guy. I'm saving you from my cousin's darkness. Saving me? Catherine's voice was sharp with anger. By kidnapping me? By drugging a pregnant woman? That's saving. Miho's expression flickered with doubt, then hardened. You don't understand yet, but you will. Taemin doesn't love you. He can't love anyone. He only knows how to own things, to break things. I'm the one who actually cares. Then let me go. Catherine screamed, pulling against restraints. If you care, let me choose. Miho stood abruptly, pacing. I can't, because you'll choose him. You're blinded by whatever spell he's cast. But given time, you'll see. You'll see I'm better for you. I can give you a real life. A safe life. Catherine felt tears streaming. Miho, please. I'm pregnant. The stress isn't good. Please, just let me go. Miho's expression immediately softened with concern. The baby. You're right. He moved to untie one hand. I'll give you more freedom. But Catherine. His voice dropped dangerously. If you try to escape, I'll have to sedate you again. And I don't know how many times I can do that safely without harming the baby. The threat hung in the air. Catherine was trapped. Trapped with a man whose obsession had twisted into something terrifying. And somewhere out there, Taemin had no idea she was pregnant. No idea she was in danger. Find me, Catherine thought desperately. Please, Taemin. Find us. Taemin sat in his penthouse surrounded by destruction. He'd let Catherine walk away 2 weeks ago. The most painful decision of his life. But he'd meant it. If she believed he only wanted to possess her, she deserved to be free. But freedom didn't mean he stopped having her watched. When his men reported that Miho had entered her apartment and she'd collapsed, Taemin's world turned red with rage and terror. Where did he take her? Taemin's voice was deadly calm as he stood over one of Miho's associates, tied to a chair, bleeding from multiple wounds. I don't know, I swear. The scream that followed was inhuman. Taemin had interrogated 5 of Miho's men in the past 12 hours. All dead now. None had known Catherine's location. And with each failure, Taemin descended deeper into darkness that terrified even his own men. They'd never seen him like this. Uncontrolled, violent, consumed by desperation. Boss, we've tracked Miho's financial records. His second-in-command reported nervously. 3 properties that might. Burn them all, Taemin interrupted. Burn everything Miho owns until he has nowhere to hide her. That night, 3 properties went up in flames. But Catherine wasn't in any. Taemin stood watching the fires, hands shaking with rage and fear. Where is she? What is he doing to her? Is she hurt? Scared? Does she think I abandoned her? His phone rang. Unknown number. Taemin answered immediately. Catherine? Not quite, cousin. Miho's voice came through. Taemin's entire body went rigid with murderous intent. But she's here with me. Safe. Comfortable. Carrying your child, apparently. Did you know she was pregnant? Taemin's world stopped. Pregnant. Catherine was pregnant. With his child. And he'd let her walk away. If you've hurt her. Taemin's voice was barely human. If you've touched her. I will make you beg for death. So protective now, Miho mocked. Where was this when you let her walk away crying? She came to me broken because of what you did. I'm just picking up the pieces. The call ended. Taemin finally let himself break. He destroyed everything, furniture, artwork, glass. When the destruction stopped, he stood in wreckage, breathing hard, hands bleeding. I drove her away. My coldness, my pride. I drove her straight into danger. Find Jaihai, Taemin said quietly. His men exchanged glances. Sir, she's the one who... I know, but she has connections I need. Tell her I'll give her anything in exchange for help finding Catherine. Within an hour, Jaihai arrived, taking one look at Taemin. Covered in blood, surrounded by destruction, and her expression filled with genuine fear. You wanted my attention, Taemin said flatly. You wanted me to admit you meant something. Fine. You meant something. You were a companion when I was lonely. Now help me find Catherine or get out. Jaihai flinched but nodded. I'll make calls. My family's information network can track anyone. After she left, Taemin sank onto the couch. Catherine, I'm coming. I'll tear this city apart until I find you. And when I do, I'm never letting you go again. You and our child, you're my entire world. And I'll burn everything down to protect my world. Days blended in Catherine's captivity. Miho had given her more freedom, untied her, allowed her to move around, even gave her books and TV. But she was still a prisoner. And every day his obsession grew more unstable. I brought prenatal vitamins, Miho said one morning, entering with a smile. And I scheduled a doctor to check the baby. The care in his voice would have been touching if it wasn't terrifying. Catherine took the vitamins with shaking hands. Miho, this can't continue. You can't keep me here forever. Taemin will find us. Miho's expression darkened. Let him come. But Catherine, why can't you see I'm better for you? I don't have his darkness, his violence. You kidnapped me, Catherine pointed out. That's pretty violent. Miho's face flushed. That's different. I had to save you, but I've never killed anyone. I've never tortured anyone. With me, you could have a normal life. No bodyguards, no enemies, just peace. Catherine studied him carefully. If you really believe that, then let me choose. Take me somewhere public. Call Taemin. Let me decide. Miho looked tempted. Then his expression hardened. No, you're not thinking clearly. Pregnancy hormones, stress, you're not in a state to make rational decisions. He's delusional, Catherine realized with cold certainty. He's created an entire fantasy where I'll eventually love him. The thought was terrifying. That night, Catherine tried to escape. She'd been watching his routine. The bathroom window was small, but she could fit 3 stories up, but there was a trellis. It was risky, especially pregnant, but she had to try. She got the window open and was halfway through when strong hands grabbed her waist, yanking her back. Catherine screamed. Miho's face was twisted with rage and hurt. You tried to leave me, after everything I've done, after all my care. Of course I did, Catherine shouted. I'm a prisoner. You drugged me, kidnapped me. What did you expect? Miho's hand rose, and for a terrible moment Catherine thought he would hit her. But he stopped himself, hand shaking. I would never hurt you. But Catherine, his voice broke. Why can't you love me? The raw pain almost made Catherine feel sorry for him. Almost. Because I love Taemin, she said quietly. I've always loved Taemin. From the moment I met him. And nothing you do will change that. You can't force love, Miho. Miho stood there, tears streaming, and Catherine saw him make a decision. Then I'll make you forget him. I'll keep you here until the baby is born. Until so much time has passed that he's just a memory. The chilling promise hung in the air. Catherine wrapped her arms around her stomach and whispered to the baby. Your daddy is coming. I know he is. He'll find us. Just hold on, little one. Just hold on. 3 days later, Catherine woke to gunfire. Distant at first, then closer. Shouting in Korean. The door burst open. Miho stood there, gun in hand, face white with terror. He found us. Taemin found us. Catherine's heart soared with hope and terror. Come on. We're leaving. Miho grabbed her arm, dragging her out. Catherine fought. No. Let me go to him. Miho backhanded her. Not hard, but enough to shock them both. Catherine's hand went to her cheek. Miho's face crumpled with regret. Catherine, I'm sorry. An explosion rocked the building. Lights went out. Emergency lighting kicked in, bathing everything in red. Miho dragged Catherine through corridors as battle sounds grew closer. Men screaming, dying. And through it all, one voice. Catherine! Taemin! Taemin! Catherine screamed back. I'm here! Miho's hand clamped over her mouth. They burst into a garage. Miho shoved Catherine toward a car. Get in. Now. Catherine refused, fighting with everything she had. No. I'm not going anywhere with you. The garage door exploded inward. Taemin stood there, backlit by fire, covered in blood, holding a gun. His eyes found Catherine and something cracked. Relief and rage and devastating love. Let her go. Each word was a death sentence. Miho pulled his gun, pressing it to Catherine's temple. Stay back or I'll... You'll what? Taemin's voice was deadly calm as he moved forward. Shoot the woman you claim to love? Shoot the mother of your cousin's child? Go ahead. Pull the trigger. Then watch me spend the next week making you beg for death. Catherine could feel Miho's hand shaking. I'm not the monster here. You are. You destroy everything you touch. I was trying to save her. By kidnapping her? Taemin's voice was soft, deadly. By drugging a pregnant woman? That's salvation. I love her. Miho's voice cracked. I love her more than you ever could. Taemin's expression went dead. You love her. Then prove it. Let her choose. Put down the gun. Let Catherine decide which one of us she wants. Miho hesitated, and in that moment, Taemin moved. Fast. He had Miho's gun arm twisted, weapon clattering to the floor, before Catherine could process it. Taemin's other arm wrapped around Catherine, pulling her against his chest. I've got you. You're safe now. Catherine collapsed against him, weeks of terror finally releasing. Taemin held her with one arm while keeping Miho restrained with the other. His men poured in. Take him, Taemin ordered coldly. Lock him up. I'll deal with him later. Taemin, don't kill him, Catherine whispered. Please. He's sick, but don't kill him. Taemin's jaw clenched. He kidnapped you, drugged you while pregnant, kept you prisoner. And you're asking me to spare him? I'm asking you to be better than your darkness, Catherine said, cupping his face. Show me that love is stronger than revenge. Taemin stared at her, then nodded. He lives, but he leaves Seoul. Forever. Miho was dragged away, still shouting. She'll never love you the way you deserve. You'll destroy her. His voice faded. Taemin turned his full attention to Catherine, hands running over her frantically, checking for injuries. Did he hurt you? Did he touch you? The baby. Is the baby okay? Catherine nodded, tears streaming. We're okay. Both of us. But Taemin, I'm so sorry. Taemin interrupted, voice breaking. I'm so sorry for letting you leave, for not fighting for you, for making you think I didn't love you enough. Catherine. He dropped to his knees, hands pressing gently against her stomach. You're pregnant with my child. Our child. And I didn't know. I should have known. Catherine pulled him to his feet, kissing him desperately. Stop. Stop apologizing. I'm the one who left. I'm the one who doubted us. But Taemin. She looked into his eyes. I need you to understand. I'm terrified. Terrified of your world. Terrified of raising a baby in violence. Terrified that one day I'll lose you to a bullet. I know, Taemin whispered. And I can't promise you safety. I can't promise normal. But Catherine, I can promise I will spend every day protecting you and our child. That I will love you with everything I have. That you are my world. My only world. And I would burn it all down before I let anything hurt you. I love you, Catherine whispered. I love you so much it scares me. Taemin's hands cupped her face. I love you too. More than life. More than power. More than anything. You and this baby, you're my redemption. The only good things in my dark world. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home. Like surviving a war. Weeks passed quietly. Taemin moved Catherine to a more secure penthouse. Hired the best doctors. Surrounded her with security. Every night, he held her like she might disappear. But the trauma lingered. Catherine woke from nightmares screaming. Flinched at unexpected noises. Couldn't shake the feeling Miho would return. I want to leave Seoul, Catherine said one morning. Taemin, making her breakfast, went completely still. What? Catherine couldn't meet his eyes. I can't stay here. Everywhere I look, I see danger. I can't raise a baby in constant fear. Where do you want to go? His voice was carefully neutral. Catherine finally looked at him, seeing the devastation he was trying to hide. I don't know. Maybe back to America. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere the baby can grow up without bodyguards and bulletproof cars. Taemin's expression cracked. You're leaving me. It wasn't a question. His voice was dead. After everything. After I tore the city apart to find you. You're leaving me anyway. Catherine's heart broke. I'm not leaving you. I'm asking you to come with me. To choose us over this life. Taemin laughed. Bitter and broken. You don't understand. I can't just leave. My family, obligations, enemies, they'll follow wherever I go. Leaving Seoul doesn't mean leaving danger. It means being vulnerable in unfamiliar territory. Putting you and the baby at greater risk. Catherine felt tears streaming. Then what do we do? I don't know, Taemin admitted. The helplessness in his voice worse than anger. I don't know how to give you the life you deserve. I don't know how to be the man you need. All I know is violence and control and darkness. And you're asking me to be something I don't know how to be. They stared at each other across the kitchen, the distance feeling insurmountable. Maybe Miho was right, Catherine whispered. Maybe we're too different. Maybe love isn't enough. Taemin flinched like she'd struck him. Don't say that. Don't tell me everything we've been through was for nothing. I'm not saying it was for nothing, Catherine said desperately. I'm saying I don't know how to do this. How to love you and keep our baby safe. How to be with you without losing myself. Taemin crossed the kitchen, pulling her into his arms. Then we figure it out together. I'll pull back from dangerous operations. Increase security until you feel safe. I'll do whatever it takes. But Catherine, he pulled back, cupping her face. Don't give up on us. Please, I'll change. I'll be better. Just don't leave me. Catherine saw the desperation in his eyes and made a decision. Okay, but Taemin, I need you to get counseling. Real counseling for trauma and violence. I need you to work on separating your identity from your darkness. Our baby deserves a father who's more than a killer. Taemin's jaw clenched, but he nodded. I'll do it. For you. For our child. I'll do anything. For months later, Catherine stood in a private chapel, wearing a designer gown that accommodated her 6-month baby bump. The past months had been hard, therapy, arguments, moments of doubt, but also healing, growth, learning to trust again. Taemin had kept his promise, stepped back from violent operations, started therapy, made their safety his absolute priority. The ceremony was small, just trusted friends. Taemin's father wasn't invited. When the music started, Catherine walked down the aisle alone. Taemin waited at the altar, and when he saw her, his eyes filled with tears. This dangerous, violent man was crying. Catherine felt her own tears fall. This is real. This love is real. The vows were simple but meaningful. I promise to protect you, Taemin said, voice rough. I promise to love you more than power, more than revenge, more than my own life. I promise to be the father our child deserves, even when I don't know how. You are my redemption, Catherine. my salvation. I promise to trust you, Catherine said, voice shaking. Even when fear tells me to run. I promise to love you through your darkness and help you find your light. I promise to build a family with you, even though I'm terrified. You are my home, Taemin, my forever home. When they kissed, it felt like a vow that nothing could break. The reception was intimate, but halfway through, Catherine felt sharp pain in her stomach. She gasped, hand flying to her belly. Taemin was at her side instantly. What's wrong? Another pain, sharper. Catherine's eyes widened with fear. Something's wrong. Taemin, something's wrong with the baby. Panic transformed Taemin's face. He scooped Catherine into his arms and ran. His men cleared a path. They broke every traffic law getting to the hospital. Doctors rushed Catherine into examination, while Taemin paced the hallway like a caged animal. Hands shaking, face white. Please, please let them be okay. You can't lose them. After an eternity, a doctor emerged. Mr. Kim? Your wife and baby are stable. It was a complication from earlier trauma and stress, but we've managed it. However, your wife needs complete bed rest for the remainder of the pregnancy. Any more stress could be catastrophic. Taemin nodded, not trusting his voice. He entered Catherine's room to find her in bed with monitors attached, looking exhausted and terrified. The baby? She whispered. Safe, Taemin said, voice breaking. You're both safe. He climbed into bed beside her, holding her carefully. I almost lost you both tonight. On our wedding day. Catherine stroked his hair as he cried against her shoulder. We're here. We're okay. But Taemin, I need you to promise me something. Promise that no matter what happens, you'll protect our child. Even if something happens to me. Taemin's expression turned fierce. Nothing is going to happen to you. Promise me anyway, Catherine insisted. Taemin pressed his forehead against hers. I promise. I promise to protect our child with everything I have. I promise to be better than my father was. I promise to love them the way you've taught me to love. But Catherine, don't talk like you're going anywhere. You're not leaving me. Not tonight. Not ever. 3 months later, Catherine went into labor at 2 a.m. Taemin woke instantly when she gasped his name. It's time, she whispered. Within minutes, they were in the car, speeding to the hospital. The labor was long, difficult, painful. Taemin stayed by Catherine's side every second, holding her hand, whispering encouragement, looking absolutely terrified. I can't do this, Catherine sobbed at hour 10. Yes, you can, Taemin said fiercely. You're the strongest person I know. You survived my world. You survived captivity. You can survive this. After 13 hours, their daughter was born. The moment the doctor placed the tiny, screaming baby in Taemin's arms, he broke down completely. Tears streamed down his face as he stared at this perfect, innocent life. She's beautiful, he whispered in awe. She's absolutely perfect. Catherine watched through exhausted tears as this killer cradled their daughter like she was made of glass. What should we name her? Catherine asked softly. Taemin studied his daughter's tiny face. Hope. Let's name her Hope. Because that's what you both gave me, hope that I could be more than my darkness. Hope that love could exist in my world. Hope for a future I never thought I'd have. Catherine smiled through tears. Hope Kim. It's perfect. Days passed in the hospital. Taemin refused to leave. He learned to change diapers, to burp the baby, to comfort her when she cried. Catherine watched this transformation in wonder. The most dangerous man in Seoul reduced to helpless devotion by a 7-pound baby. You're going to be a wonderful father, she whispered one night. Taemin looked up, eyes shining. I never thought I'd have this. Family. Love. Something pure in all my darkness. Catherine, every terrible thing I've done, every person I've hurt, every sin I've committed, it all led me to you, to this. And I would do it all again if it meant ending up here, holding our daughter, with you by my side. Catherine felt tears streaming. I love you, more than I ever thought possible. Taemin leaned over, kissing her gently while cradling Hope. I love you too, both of you, my girls, my world, My everything. For one perfect moment, everything felt right, safe, complete. But on the third day, as Taemin stood by the window holding hope, he saw a familiar figure standing across the street. Watching, waiting. His blood ran cold. Miho. He should have been gone, exiled from Seoul. But there he stood, staring up at the hospital room with an expression that promised this wasn't over. Taemin's arms tightened protectively around his daughter. Catherine, dozing in bed, didn't see, didn't know. And Taemin made a decision. He would handle this. He would eliminate this threat once and for all. Because his family would be safe. No matter what it cost him. No matter what he had to become. His darkness would protect their light. 2 weeks after leaving the hospital, Catherine and Taemin settled into exhausted but happy routine with baby Hope. Catherine had never seen Taemin so soft, so gentle. Every time he held Hope, his entire face transformed with love. It almost made her forget the dangers lurking in shadows. But Taemin hadn't forgotten. He'd tripled security, installed cameras everywhere, had men watching 24/7. He'd also been making discreet inquiries about Miho's location. His cousin had been spotted several times near the hospital, near their building, always watching. And Taemin knew this wasn't over. "You're distracted?" Catherine said one evening, watching Taemin stare out the window while holding sleeping Hope. "What's wrong?" Taemin's jaw clenched. "Nothing. Just tired." But Catherine knew that look. That dangerous coldness creeping back. "Taemin, don't lie to me. What's happening?" Taemin turned to face her, conflict in his eyes. "Miho is still in Seoul. He's been watching us. Watching Hope." Catherine's blood ran cold. "What? But you said he was exiled." "He was supposed to be," Taemin interrupted grimly. "But he's defied the order, which means he's desperate. And desperate men are unpredictable." Catherine felt panic rising. "What do we do? How do we protect Hope?" Taemin's expression turned absolutely deadly. "I handle it. Permanently this time. I should have killed him when I had the chance." Catherine grabbed his arm. "Taemin, no. You promised me you'd be better than your darkness." "That was before he threatened our daughter," Taemin said coldly. "I'll be whatever I need to be to protect her. Monster, killer, devil, I don't care. Hope's safety comes first." Catherine felt tears streaming. "But if you kill him, you'll be hunted. And then what happens to us? To Hope? She needs her father." Taemin's expression softened slightly as he looked down at his sleeping daughter. "She needs to be safe more than she needs me." The words broke Catherine's heart. "She needs both. Taemin, please, let's find another way." But she saw the determination in his eyes. He'd already made his decision. That night, after Catherine fell asleep, Taemin carefully placed Hope in her crib and left the penthouse. His men were waiting. "You know what to do," Taemin said quietly. "Find Miho. Bring him to me. Make sure no one sees." His men nodded and disappeared. Taemin stood alone on the balcony, looking out over Seoul, wondering if this was the moment he finally became the monster everyone feared. 3 hours later, his phone rang. "We have him, boss. Warehouse on the east side." Taemin didn't hesitate. He kissed Catherine's forehead gently as she slept, looked at Hope one last time, and left. When he arrived, Miho was tied to a chair, bloodied but conscious. His eyes met Taemin's with unsettling calmness. "I knew you'd come," Miho said. "I've been waiting." Taemin pulled out his gun, pointing it directly at his cousin's head. "You had your chance to leave. I spared you once because Catherine asked me to. But you came back. You threatened my family. And now you die." Miho smiled, and it was wrong. Too calm, too knowing. "Kill me, and you prove everything I said was true. That you're nothing but a monster. That Catherine made a mistake choosing you. That your daughter will grow up with a killer for a father. Is that the legacy you want, cousin? Blood and death and darkness." Taemin's hand shook. Just slightly, but enough. "Or," Miho continued, voice almost hypnotic, "you could let me go. Prove you're better than your nature. Walk away. Be the man Catherine thinks you are." Taemin stared at his cousin, finger on the trigger, facing the hardest choice of his life. Kill Miho and protect his family but prove he was still a monster. Or spare him and prove he'd changed but risk everything he loved. What do I do? What's the right choice? Is there even a right choice? In the end, Taemin lowered the gun. You're right, he said quietly. Killing you would prove I haven't changed. That I'm still the monster. Miho's eyes widened with shock. So I'm not going to kill you, Taemin continued. I'm going to do something worse. I'm going to let you live with the knowledge that you lost. That Catherine chose me. That you'll spend the rest of your life alone. Obsessing over a woman you can never have. But Miho, Taemin's voice dropped to something absolutely terrifying. If I ever see you near my family again, if I ever hear you've been watching them, if you so much as think about them, I won't kill you. I'll destroy everything you love, everyone you care about. I'll make you watch as I take apart your entire world piece by piece. And then, only then, will I let you die. Do we have an understanding? Miho stared at him, seeing the absolute promise of violence in Taemin's eyes, and nodded slowly. We have an understanding. Taemin turned and walked away, leaving Miho tied to the chair for his men to handle. When he returned home just before dawn, Catherine was awake, holding hope, her eyes searching his face. She saw something different this time. Not blood on his hands, but something harder to define. A resolution. A choice made. Taemin, she whispered. What happened? Taemin crossed to her, taking hope gently and cradling her. I made a choice. The right one, I think. I let him live. But I made him understand that coming near you two again would be worse than death. Catherine stared at him, processing. You didn't kill him? Taemin shook his head. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But I kept thinking about what you said. About being better than my darkness. About hope needing a father who's more than a killer. So I chose mercy. But Catherine. His eyes met hers, and she saw the steel in them. If he ever threatens our family again, mercy is off the table. Do you understand? Catherine nodded slowly. I understand. She reached up, cupping his face. Thank you. For choosing us. For choosing to be better. Taemin leaned into her touch. I'll always choose you. Both of you. Even when it's hard. Even when every instinct screams for violence. Because you're worth more than revenge. Worth more than my pride. Worth everything. As they stood there, husband, wife, and newborn daughter, Catherine felt something shift. Maybe they could do this. Maybe love really could survive in darkness. Maybe their family could thrive despite the violence surrounding them. Or maybe she was fooling herself. Only time would tell. But for now, in this moment, they were together. They were safe. And that was enough. Did Taemin make the right choice? Drop your theories in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.